All right, guys. So now that we got the fab work done on the main frame and got everything mocked up, this is what we got going on now. This is a sheet of 18 gauge sheet metal. I got one strip cut out. Obviously, it's got some blemishes. That's all right though. Anyway, we're gonna cut another one out that size, and we got it drawn out. And we're gonna use, where did I put it? Over here. We're gonna use some angle iron as a guide because I don't have a steady hand like that. But we're gonna use the plasma cutter, Arc Captain Cut 50. This thing works pretty sweet. So let me get the camera set up and we'll get this going. Now what I like to do is, I should probably put a caliper and see what size diameter that is. Anyway, what I like to do is do a test run against my guide to make sure the center of the nozzle is going to be center of that black line. Nah, I cut it crooked. Oh well, it doesn't matter. It's gonna get bent up anyway. Alright folks, so this is gonna be my first attempt at building a fender. Never done it before, so this might work, it might not work, but we're gonna find out. So bear with me and we'll see what happens here. I got my line drawn out, but I'm going to double check the measurement on it to make sure it's an inch in all the way. Follows the inch mark. Alright, I'm going to pull this rack off and I'm going to get my sheet metal brake set up and we'll check it out. Well, turns out my sheet metal brake I was excited to use, this piece is too long for it, so we're going to do it the manual way. This isn't about getting it right or getting it wrong right now. It's about learning. bought these at Harbor Freight. Never used them before, so I figured I'd give them a try. And if it doesn't work, we can always break this edge with a hammer. So I'm just doing this with hand tools. I don't have a hydraulic sheet metal bender or a pull max or a shrinker stretcher. I'm doing it with pliers, tools that I built, like the sheet metal brake you saw earlier, that the jaws on it aren't long enough or wide enough for this length of sheet metal. So what I got is, I'll show you here. I got this hammer and dolly kit off of Amazon. I don't remember what it cost, but I think it was 45 bucks, somewhere in that ballpark. Anyway, I've used it very little, a handful of times here and there, but anyway, it works pretty decent. Clamps, and as you can see, we got the edge broke over. There's a couple little valleys in it, little whoops. So what we'll end up doing is unclamping it, and we'll check it out and see how straight the other side is, how it looks, so on and so forth. And then we'll put these against some flat stuff, or one of the dollies rather, and we'll smooth that out. So I got these at Harbor Freight. I think they were like 20 bucks ish. Each one of these little notches is a 1/4 inch, so 1 inch max. I did most of the initial bending with that, so we will let's fix the camera here. Sorry about the crappy camera work. We'll pull this off and check it out, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, so I got my lip formed. I got a little bit of a tuck right there. I'm gonna have to hammer that out, but I got my self-explanatory top of the wheel, center in between the wheels. Got my instructions I made to remind myself what I'm doing, and I got it kind of formed over, but after going back out there, I'm actually going to cut this square off and this square off, because I don't think I'm going to need it, and it's going to make it easier to bend this. So and if I do need them, I can always form these up and then weld them back together. So I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut it off, because I really just need between this line and that line for the fender. So because this panel is already longer than the frame that I'm putting it on, but I always want to leave a little bit of extra room in case I short myself. But now that I'm getting this far into it, it's looking like I'm not going to need that. So we'll cut that off, and we'll get back to bending on it. Actually, I think I'm just going to cut one side off and form it and see how it goes. That way I have extra without having to do extra work if I need to weld it. So, alright, so I got, so far to this point, I've hand formed this with rubber mallet, body hammers, and a dolly. So, now that I know I don't need that much as much as I had to achieve what I'm trying to do here, I cut an end off, and now it fits in between the hinges. So we're going to bend this over a little at a time, and then we're going to keep test fitting it. And then I've got some tucks right here, which means it needs to be shrunk there. But like I said, I don't have a shrinker. I suppose I could use some pliers, but this is my first attempt at making a small fender, a full fender. So let's learn together. I got a little bit of a valley in there from hitting it with the mallet. It's all good. It's our first attempt in learning. Alright, so like I said in previous episodes, I got a tight spot I got to work in. A lot of stuff in here, not a lot of real estate. So we got this bent up, and we'll smooth out the little roll that's in there, and we'll smooth out those tucks right there. So we'll lock those in so it's good and tight. Okay, so the plan is to build a fender. Here is the bottom flange. There's center. I think we just need to bend it over a little bit more, and we'll be there. And then we can, where's center? There we go. Bend it over a little bit more, and then we can lop off that end at that line. So I think we're getting there, bud. I do believe so. So let's get to working on this some more. Alright, so we kinda-ish got a generalized shape. This side and this flange, well, this side's good. It had a little bit of a cup to it, so here's my panel beater bag. This thing is expensive. It's very high end. I got it at the hardware store. This is a car wash mitt filled with play sand wrapped in Gorilla Tape. And you know what? It was very affordable. So anyway, I don't have a shrinker stretcher or nothing like that, but what I do got is a claw hammer. So I'm using the claw end like a tucking fork. So I've never used a tucking fork. I've never really formed sheet metal before, but just little odds and ends, simple things here and there for the Chevy where it's obviously easy. But what I'm trying to achieve is I want this to kind of curve down and this section stay flat, and this section's almost there. We need to get this one down a little more, and we need to smooth all this out. So I got a claw hammer, I got my panel beater bag, I got a cross peen planishing hammer, and I got some hand dollies. So we'll try and get this thing shaped around, and if I mess it up and it doesn't work out, it's no big deal. This is my first attempt at building something that I consider complex. So we'll get to working on it some more and get it shaped up. And right now I'm trying to lock in these tucks to shrink the metal so it kind of pulls in on itself and curves. I got one here. And then what we'll do, and I don't have an English wheel or nothing, but I got a chunk of wood. I got enough flat surfaces that I can smooth that out. Also, back here, I actually built these T-post pipe dollies that I can clamp into the vise, and then I can put this over the top. This over the top of that, and just kind of use the top part of the pipe to smooth it out. So as I was recording and talking about my tools, it dawned on me. I've got my T-post pipe dollies that go in the vise. Why I didn't think of that earlier, I don't know. Would have saved me a buttload of work. But so anyway, pulled that out, clamped it down in the vise, and we're starting to get some shape here. The right kind of shape. So we're going to refine this some more. We're going to try and smooth that out as much as possible with hand planishing. So like I said, don't have a planishing hammer, don't have an English wheel, but we're getting closer. Alright, got her clamped in there. Checking our fitment. That's kind of tight. I think what we need to do is bend this up a little bit and start this bend over here. Let's look at the back, because I know they're not the same at the moment. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. All right, so we're getting there. Slow but steady. So I got my radius ends on. Probably need some fine tuning. And it still bows down and then comes back up, but it's not a big deal. It's not going on a car. It's not a showpiece. But anyway, I got my lip curled over. I need to tidy up these corners, but all I did was I took an all 16ths. I just put it on there, about a 1/4 inch of it, and just inched it along, bending down just a little bit at a time. Well, there it is, boys. My first one. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it close? No. But my very first attempt. It's shorter this way than it is this way. And I'm not sure how that happened. I had it lined up when I bent it, but I did do quite a bit of manipulating on this, so I might have stretched it here more than I did there. But we all got to start somewhere, and this is where I started. Well, there it is, mocked up. Does this thing look like hammered horse crap? Yes. Am I proud of it? Also yes. The whole purpose of this is to keep your shirt or coat or hands from getting caught in here when you're laying on this. That's what the purpose of this is. Would I sell that piece? No. But the good news is I learned a lot from this first piece, and I have a second one to make that's going to go over there. And now I have a template and the knowledge of what to and not to do from this one. So, in appearance, fail. Education, A+. So, sorry it's bright out here, can't see. We're going to get to working on the other side, and then we got to come up with a backrest and a headrest, and get that covered in some vinyl, some foam. Make sure you're comfortable laying on your back, you know. Don't want to be uncomfortable as you're already under a car wrenching, motorhome, school bus, whatever. So we're going to get back to it. We're going to fab up the other fender, and we'll see if there's a difference in appearance and form. Homemade tools. Piece of flat bar, 1/4 inch, and this is I believe it's a 3.5 inch piece of Schedule 40 pipe that I cut down and smoothed out. I didn't put like a polishing pad on it. I just used a 80 grit to get all the mill scale and rust off. Anyway, so we got our general shape here. We got a bunch of lumps in here. So we're going to do this the old-fashioned way, because I don't have any fancy tools. So at the end of all that labor-intensive, exhilarating loads of fun work on those two fenders, I decided not to use them and start over. So Stick around for part 3 of the DIY mechanics creeper build, and I will show you coming up the new fenders that I built that I think are night and day better, and actually weren't as much work to build. But just so you know, in this video that you just watched, I learned a lot from building those, and even though they didn't turn out exactly or even close to what I had imagined, and that's due to lack of knowledge and experience in it, but you don't know what you don't know, and the way you get good at it is to just start doing it and keep doing it, and you start picking up little things, tips and tricks. Your brain starts thinking differently, and before you know it, you're a master metal fabricator. I'm not a master. I'm nowhere close, but I will be. Stick around for part 3. This is Midnight Customs. Thank you.